Awesome. Awesome. All right, you guys, happy Friday. Happy selling weekend. Woo woo. Okay, so for those of you who do not know me yet, I am Ashley. I'm one of the business development officers with Alamo Title, and you seriously are in for the biggest treat today. I'm so excited that you're here. I have some amazing guests. First and foremost, I'm going to introduce my social media partner, Sarah. She's always with me. Like I cannot
Hi,
do life
everybody.
without her. Yes, Sarah, say hello. Shout out to Sarah. And then our two awesome speakers today. We have Suzanne Athey. Shout out, there you are, Suzanne. And then we have Brad all the way from Canada.
Woo! If I would have known we were dancing, I would have worn pants.
Y'all, oh, sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. That's it. If I would have known to dance, I would have got up and danced. But who knows if I'm wearing pants? So I'll let you guys.
We only dance from the chest up. We don't dance in the bottom.
Fair enough.
Right. That's right. So, y'all, let me do a quick intro for our guest today. And Sarah, if you don't mind, just managing our waiting room and letting people in. So, you guys know that this market is hot and it is crazy right now. So I thought it would be super fun to get these superstars with us today to share some listing strategies that are really out of the box so that we can go get listings in this low inventory market. So let me just do a quick intro. And then after our speakers share their tips and tricks, you guys know that we want this to be interactive. So please, please, please come off mic, ask questions. We want to take advantage of just learning from these amazing humans who have so graciously agreed to share time with us. So make sure that you do that. And then afterwards, Sarah and I, you know, we always have to give you some digital strategy. So hang on tight. And we always give something away at the end. So I hope that you can stay with us all the way through because it's going to be fantastic. Okay, so quick intros. Brad, all the way from Calgary, Canada, like I was sharing. He is a top producing real estate agent with EXP, and he previously led the #1 team at the #1 REMAX in the world. That was pretty awesome. And then Suzanne is a REMAX Dallas suburbs real estate broker, and she has been in this business for 30 plus years in sales, leasing, and property management. So you guys have some big guns with us today. So I'm just going to turn things over, get things started with Brad. I shared with him I would sort of just throw out some questions and get him going. But like I said, I really want you guys to ask some questions. So Brad, I know the first thing that we were talking about is retirement communities. Yep. So how did you make a bunch of money with retirement communities?
I believe the proper terminology was a shit ton of money is what I told you. Yes, that is exactly what I said. You know what? It's a pretty cool concept that nobody's really doing. And I think that in real estate, we make assumptions that either builders or certain people have realtors already and have partnerships. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes is we assume this. So I have this concept and this idea because what I believe in is if I'm going to spend my time, I want to spend my time doing it where I can get somebody that's going to give me multiple of something. So, you know, it's cool to go and get a past client. Maybe they buy every 5 years. It's a cooler concept to keep getting something, build a relationship and keep getting something over and over again. So it doesn't really exist where I'm from, and all the realtors that I've given feedback to, they don't really have it. So retirement communities, if you come in, the unfortunate reality is there's people that check in, technically don't really check out, but like quite often. So they come in and a lot of times they actually don't have a realtor. So they come in, it's been maybe 20, 25 years they're at their home. They don't even know where to start. So if you partner up with a retirement community and you go in there and you ask if you're going to coordinate with one, ask to always talk to the marketing director because that's who I see makes the decisions. So you ask to talk to the marketing director, see if they have a program, say you have a program to help them. Now, I'm in Canada. It's snowing. I would show you. It's awful, but that's the way it is living here. And, you know, so we have it where it's like, we'll do the snow removal. We'll do the lawn maintenance if it's the summertime. We have a decluttering company. So we created a brochure that it's a one-stop shop for somebody coming in, that they can come in and feel at ease, that somebody's going to come in and take care of it for them. A lot of times too, what we found is that the children didn't live actually in the same city, which is even more stressful. So let's say that your parents have to, you know, they want to move into a retirement community and you're sitting there and they're in their 70s, 80s, whatever the age is. And you're like, okay, well, which moving company do I call? I'm not from there. Which decluttering company do I call? How do I know they're not being taken advantage of? There's so many things that would go through your mind. So if you go to this retirement community and you're like, hey, I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to be your one-stop shop. I'm going to put on, Zooms for clients that you have, whatever you want to do, because in-person stuff's a little bit off right now. It's a huge way because people are coming in. And again, I can't stress enough, they don't have a realtor because in most cases, they've been in their home for 20 plus years. So they're looking for the retirement community to help. So imagine if you drove around and went to 3 or 4 different retirement communities. That's it. Just 4 of them. And you got 4 on board. And imagine if 1 out of 4 gave you a listing a month. That's not unrealistic. You get 12 extra listings just for doing that. But imagine if you had a month that each one gave you 1. That'd be 4 listings you got that month. So that's one way that we have where there was 40 or 50 retirement communities in my city. There's nothing saying you can't go hit up 10, have 10 solid relationships with them, and then be getting listings constantly. So it's a golden, and it's free. It's relationship based. So just go in there, bring cookies, prune juice, I don't know, whatever it is, whenever you're 90 years old, and just go make friends with like everybody. It's the biggest thing, and just provide a lot of value and be genuine, show that you care, because a lot of elderly people in our market all across North America get taken advantage of. So keep yourself a step above and make sure that you hold your character and actually genuinely want to help these people.
That's awesome. Suzanne, do you have anything you want to throw in there?
That's a great idea. I mean, I honestly never thought about it. I used to, but back in the old days, we would do the obituaries. We would watch the obituaries and estate sales. And, we reach out to those people because we had the cold books and stuff. It's so much easier now because everything's technology based. And that was another way that we looked at it. But I can see where that could be huge. But I don't know, bring in prune juice might be okay if there's maybe a little vodka in there,
Yeah, nice. Now we're speaking the same language. It's 9 a.m., but I'm in if you're in. That's fine.
Oh, I love it.
I'm just saying those people in those retirement communities are a little wilder than you think.
Yep.
All right, cool. So how about we jump to investors, non-owner occupied properties. I know this is a big one, and I know Suzanne's going to have a lot to share on this one as well. So Brad, ready, go.
Yeah. So something we do too is we have a website called Rent Faster. It's something where people go, and Kijiji, I guess you could probably do Craigslist. I'm not sure wherever you guys are across North America. Basically find a website where there's landlords that are looking to rent their places out. It's a really massive thing because the cool thing is if you call an investor, you just simply have to ask, hey, the market's hot. Have you thought about selling this year? It's not rocket science. You don't have to have this massive script if people are scared. Just fumble your way through it. It's better you make the call than you don't. But a lot of people, you'll catch somebody to be like, you want to know what? I just had the worst tenant, and they'll go on this. It's like, yeah, if I can get this price, I'll sell it. Now, the cool thing is about it in that your market, my market sucks. It's starting to get better. But the cool thing is in most markets is that they don't have to have a place to buy. So your objection of like, okay, well then where am I going to move is now removed. So all you got to do is just hit the phones and ask landlords. I showed this lady who was in my city in Calgary. She's probably about her mid 60s. And she's like, I want to sell some more houses. She literally had somebody, the first call she made, jackpot. I'm not going to repeat it because I do like swearing, but I won't because I don't know if this is a friendly place to do it. I won't repeat what the person said, but basically he literally sat there and just poured his heart out to her and how this last person was terrible. She ended up getting 2 listings and selling them in 2 weeks from her very first call. So she got 2 listings from it. So you're not going to get a yes every time, but you're going to get a yes. And one of the things I learned in real estate 12 years ago that was really amazing is if you're cold calling, if you're doing something and you figure, all right, I'm going to make $10,000 when I get a yes. And let's say that you get 1 yes per 100 people. You basically sit there and whatever the math is, I think it's about $100. You basically sit there, and if you made 27 calls that day and you got a no, you paid yourself $2,700. So it's a different way of thinking mentally. It's like, I got nothing today. It's like, just kidding. I made $2,700 because mathematically you should get 1 out of 100. Then by date, 3 or 4, however many it takes, you'll probably have somebody. So it's it's a cool way that taught me how to do a lot of prospecting because I was paying myself every day, even if I didn't get one.
I love that. I love that. Okay.
I like the way that how that financial motivation kicked in there. That's good.
Yeah. So Suzanne, I mean, this is like one of your sweet spots. You have a property management business. So you are working with these folks day in and day out. So share your wisdom. Let's teach these agents, if they want to go after investors and non-owner occupied properties, how can they do that?
Well, when I started out, the market was horrible. It was in 87, and I fell into property management purely by accident. So I currently manage about 350 properties, single family homes, mostly throughout the Metroplex. And I do not recommend that line of work unless you have a super thick alligator skin, by the way. And, the pain that we found, was when people were going through evictions, and evictions here are public record. So I would gain access to the public records, and any individuals that were going through that eviction process were feeling pain and fear, both at the same time. And I was there to basically help them with that. So they were going to do either one or two things. They had to figure out how to get that tenant out, which actually was generally easier than they thought, but do they want to stay in the investment business? And if I could make it painless for them, would they want to buy more investment properties? And they didn't mind owning the properties as long as they didn't have to deal with the properties, and they just get the check in their bank account every month. And then, that was then. But now we have so many other ways to find this information by various different resources. And I think one of them that's super easy for all of us, and I think Ashley, you and Sarah are probably going to go over this a little later, is just the Remind process. How you can go through literally and figure out all of the people that are non-owner occupied. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily all rental properties or that they're not managed. But I think, just like Brad was saying, everything that we're sharing with you is a little bit time intensive. It is consistent, being super consistent at what you do, no matter what, and following through. So if you take the time to go get the records, or you take the time to go through the technology processes, the information is there. It's just having the commitment to work it.
Well, and then, I always love real examples. So Suzanne, Brad, could you maybe share with the agents, like, okay, you've got your list in front of you. Now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to write a letter? Are you going to call, and what are you going to say? How are we going to lead these people down the path to help them understand that, man, we are in a fantastic market right now, and this really could be an amazing time for you to unload one of your investment properties.
Brad, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'm in Canada, so our privacy laws are insane. Like, you guys have it easy. Like, you can circle dial expireds and do all this stuff. I can't call expireds. I can't do anything. I don't get lists of anything. I don't know when anybody dies. I don't know any eviction notices. So that's how it's made me super creative in my real estate career. So I don't get lists of anything ever. Like, I don't have, like, I know you guys have so many different lists that you can buy and so much different stuff. It's circle dialing. Like, we don't have any of all that. None of that's public record in Canada. So it's really challenging in our market. You have to get really creative. And that's why I've thought, I don't have what you guys have. So I don't have a list. So I literally just go to a website. Even the website sometimes doesn't even have somebody's phone number. So you got to email them. And then he was emailing so many people, the owner of the company's like, you got to stop emailing my people or I'm going to sue you. I'm like, we're not in the States. Like, you can't sue me. Like, we can't sue for absolutely everything, for crossing the street and looking funny. Like, that doesn't happen. So it's crazy. So it's just different. So I literally just get on the phone, and then sometimes you actually have to go through the property manager, and sometimes the property manager will say, yeah, you want to know what they're thinking. But if they're a licensed agent, they're going to be like, dude, that's a really good idea. Actually, I'm going to call them. So, like, it doesn't work. So you got to find a homeowner. So unfortunately, and guys, I mean this genuinely. So, with the people that I coach in the United States, you guys have it so much easier than Canada. You just have to have, like you mentioned, you just have to do it and keep it consistent. And as long as you're consistent, you'll be successful. And I think that's the thing that realtors don't realize. They try something once for an hour and they're like, this is stupid. It's like, is it stupid or are you stupid for stopping? And that's what I tell some of my people. It's like, it's just because it didn't work for an hour doesn't mean it's not going to work. And so we don't have the advantages, and a lot of places don't, that you get all these lists at your disposal. So, there's no excuse not to try. You just have to put in the effort and want it.
I agree with you, Brad, 100%. I think the worst disease a realtor can have is the commitment and the consistency that it takes. And I try to lay that out for people. So what would you say to those people? Like, I would sit at night, and I would look at a newspaper, which nobody touches a newspaper. You don't even know what a newspaper feels like. But we would sit there and we would circle numbers and say, hey, I saw you had an ad in the paper. You're trying to lease your property. Are you interested in selling it rather than leasing it? Because leasing right then at that particular moment, that was a pain. So we would get listings like that. And, on the people that were filing evictions, it was no pressure for me particularly, but it was like, I saw that you were going through eviction court. I was there. That's true. I was there and saw that you were going through the same pains. I wanted to share my information with you, let you know what I do. If you ever change your mind, would you give me a call? And back then we were not afraid to call people. I mean, we didn't have texting. So I think that gave me the confidence to really call. I mean, there was no, they're not going to kill you. They're just going to hang up on you. And that's okay. It's just quicker to go to the next one. But I would ask permission. And I think it's very important to ask permission. Can I send you some information? Would you be willing to share with me? Don't use the word give. Use the word share. Would you be willing to share with me, your email? And I can tell you 9 out of 10 times, every time they will. And 9 out of 10 times, it's a good email. So a lot of times, you get people online to give you an email, and it's a phony email or whatever. But when you're talking to somebody, and oh, by the way, can I circle back with you in about a week? And then you put them into that database and you grade that database. Was that person good to talk to? Do they look, I kind of got a red, green, yellow kind of feel to them. It's a red, don't call them again. It's a yellow, there may be, it's a green, definitely call them next week kind of thing. And you set up that system. And Brad, you probably have an amazing system that kind of keeps you going. I mean, I was on Top Producer for 20 years. And then I went to a system called Realty Juggler, which those people used to work for Top Producer, but I just don't need all the bells and whistle crap. So I just go for the real stuff. So what do you use, Brad?
I use Follow Up Boss.
Follow Up Boss.
Yeah.
So everybody's got something, right? It's just something to keep you on track, but you have to do it.
So Brad, how can you just share maybe some of these like super creative things you've come up with? I mean, because that's my favorite is when we are talking about out of the box ideas.
So are you saying that my first two weren't super creative, for the record? I just want to get that on the record.
No.
What were those ideas? What were those ideas? Ashley, I already forgot. What was it?
Yeah.
No, when you were making the comparison about how creative you had to get in Canada versus here in the
I thought those were pretty creative, but I do have more. So if that's not enough, let me give you more. So So a couple other ones I have, actually really big ones that have made me successful are actually, like, it's a little bit tougher now with COVID, but before I go into branches, I actually started a team in Seattle a while back, and I went into Bank America's there. And what you don't realize is a lot of people still at the time, and maybe not so much anymore, so I don't know how successful it would be, but I would convince a branch manager. So basically 1.5 to 2 out of 5 mortgage leads that go into a branch actually close. So 60% to 70% of their business, once they come in the door, will go Google, do different things, and then they don't actually closing. So I convinced many branches for me to be the face of it. And I come in and make friends with, I know you guys, I think call them loan officers there, but the people though at a branch level, not somebody that's a mortgage broker. I would go in, I'd actually get tons of referrals because there might be 12 people at a really big branch. So before I went and committed to a branch, I'd ask them, how many pre-approvals do you come at a branch level? Not your mortgage loans, the officers, how many at a branch? And some people like, we get 20 or 25 or whatever it is. So I would just go in there every week and just make friends with everybody. And they would refer me business and I'd help them close, because I tell the branch manager, do you want to hit your targets? Do you want to hit your goals? So that's one way that I would go ahead and do that. Another one that I have is a big one actually is divorce lawyers. Divorce lawyers getting listings is absolutely massive. So what I'd actually do is I'd Google like divorce lawyers in the cities that you're in. Because normally what ends up happening is that those people, if they're at the top, they're paying for ad spend. So you know that they have they're basically financially investing in themselves. So what I would do is I'd call the divorce lawyers and just say, hey, it's Brad Vandal. I run one of the top teams in the city. I don't have a divorce lawyer that I refer business to. We do a ton of transactions. Can I come down for half an hour? So again, make sure that this is okay in whatever state you're in, disclaimer. But then I'd go in and I'd talk to them and I'd be like, hey, look, how many divorces do you deal with a month? It's like, I don't know, 10 or 15. So what I actually ended up doing, because in Canada and in the United States, you can do it, because I've clients of mine that do, is you actually offer the lawyer a 25% referral. So you go back to them and you're like, hey, I'll give you 25% referral for whatever you send me. So imagine the way I wanted to set up my business, and the realtors on my team, I don't care if they're watching, I call them lazy to their faces. We're all like family. However, they're lazy a lot of times, is they can build their own business, because I've gone and done this. So imagine if you're in a situation where you have 4 retirement communities that you're with, and let's say you have 5 divorce lawyers and you're managing 9, let's just say 5 and 5 retirement communities, 5 divorce lawyers, and you're managing those relationships and you're managing them really well. That's 10 opportunities of people that can give you multiple listings or buyers in some cases every single month. You just have to be friends with 10 people and you could escalate your career just by doing that. And if I called any person on here, I'm like, I have a referral for you. Every single person's like, I'll pay you 25%. So go pay a lawyer that. There's legal stuff you have to do in every state, I'm sure, disclosure, whatever. However, what some people even do is some lawyers will be like, that's amazing. I'll actually give some of that back to my clients so they can save. Some lawyers will be like, you want to know what? I spend $3,000 a month on Facebook leads. That's how I get, on Google leads. That's how I get so much of my stuff. I'm going to take the money you're giving me now and I'm going to triple my budget so everybody benefits. So it's just a matter of getting creative. I think people are naturally lazy. I'm not sugarcoating it. That's just who I am. People are naturally lazy and don't stick to it. So they'll just go and talk to the divorce lawyer once and they'll be like, that person's going to think of me for the rest of their lives. Like, I'm pretty animated. There's a really good chance that a week from now, your people are going to be like, I don't even remember who that asshole was on that call. That's just the way it is. But I'm pretty outgoing.
Hi, Ashley.
Oh no, there's no way they're forgetting you. No.
Well, but the thing is that you will. 2 weeks from now, you still will forget about me. Nobody's going to remember my name. And I'm humble enough to know that that's okay, because everybody has so many things to do. So imagine if you're trying to get business from someone to trust you with their clients. You're going to have to call them all the time. You're going to have to show them value. You're not just going to go in and knock their socks off and they're going to be like, I'm going to remember this person forever. That's not how it works. So it still takes work to get stuff done.
Amen to that. Suzanne, do you want to jump in and talk about,
I absolutely love Brad's idea about attorneys, because when I started out in 87, I worked downtown Dallas and Lakewood, Lower Greenville, Park Cities. And a lot of my clients were, these snot-nosed whippersnappers that were going to law school at SMU, right? So when they came, I would always lease them their first apartment, basically, when they were going to SMU. And then they eventually became lawyers, believe it or not. And I kept track of them, because when they did their applications, I had their birthday, I had reasons to keep in touch with them. And then I would keep track of when their leases were, when they were like a year out or whatever, and if they needed to move. And you would be blown away by how many of those kids that I've taken all the way up to successful partnerships and been able to work with those people. So I love lawyers. They're my favorite people. I love divorce lawyers. I love probate lawyers. I love bankruptcy lawyers. I would work with any of them. And the thing about it is if you can do what Brad says and you can get in that clique with one, especially in a firm that has multiple lawyers that do different things, they will share your name. But you are not special. And if you want them to remember you, then you need to be a thorn in their side, not a painful thorn, but a gently friendly reminder thorn about what's going on and what you can do. Divorce is tough. But I will say divorce generally will lead to future sales as a buyer or as a seller as well. So once you get into that, then you just kind of make it grow. But I think the secret of what I've always been able to do is once you are mine forever. And I just hang on to that and I nurture that. And, I reach out to those people. But if you can, even your own personal attorney, my goodness, you guys are all realtors. You surely know at least one or two attorneys, and then start with them, at least just start with them. And do you know another attorney that could work with me? I think bankruptcy attorneys right now could be a little bit of a gold mine because I think we're going to see a little bit of a swing due to a lot of the forbearance that we've been dealing with. And that if you've got somebody that's dealing with that, man, that would be a definite zero added to the salary that you would make that year. But I think probate attorneys for me over the years has been some of the best work that I've been able to deal with. And I think it's because when you go in and you work with that family and you're very compassionate about how you work with that family. And like Brad said, he's got these declutter people, he's got these moving people. When you can work with those probate attorneys like that, the families see that. And when the families see that and then they trust you, they'll call you for their own business as well.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to turn it over to everybody on this call. Who wants to come off mic and ask some of your own questions? Let's just hear what you got on your mind. Who is going to come off mic?
Come on, you brave souls.
Come on, I know you guys have questions. Brad and Suzanne are superstars. Oh my gosh, everyone's being
I was trying to find my unmute button.
There we go. Blair.
Hey,
yes, girl. All right.
Hi. Okay,
Hi.
so here we go. So I've had this retirement community thing on my mind for a few years now because my ex-husband was the executive chef for a big retirement community in Dallas on Lover's Lane. And but I couldn't figure out how to approach it because although there wasn't like a buy-in for the retirement community, I just never really it was always in the back of my head. So I never actually did it. Are you saying that you ask the marketing director at the retirement community, hey, offer my services to the incoming senior?
Yeah. So whenever you call the marketing person, well, first of all, there's a few different things that you want to ask. And I made the mistake is that some of them are government subsidized. So you don't, and I don't know if it's the same way in the United States, but some of their government subsidized or they're a little bit less money. You definitely want to find out how much it is a month. Because if it's like really inexpensive, you don't necessarily have to sell your home. But if you're going to a place that's like $3,000 or $4,000 a month, almost everybody's going to have a home to sell in there. So you just ask to talk to the marketing person. And I love face-to-face. Like I'm old school. Like I hate technology. It scares me. It gives me anxiety. I drink Jack Daniels when I have to think about it. Like I can't handle it. So like I'm still old school where I still hit the phones. That's just me. That's the way I started real estate 12 years ago. And I can't see myself ever changing. I have the skin of 1,000 alligators. I should live in Florida because you can tell me anything and it doesn't matter. So I just kept calling and learning and finding out that, talk to the marketing person, just say, hey, you know what, I'm a realtor. And you don't have to be a top realtor. You don't have to come out and be like, don't be somebody you're not. Even if you're brand new, just be like, hey, I'm brand new, but I have this new thing. Like, just be honest with people, and people are going to give you a shot. And I would just say, hey, look, I have this program that helps seniors come and transition into your retirement community. And I'd ask, do you have anything like that? And you'd be surprised how people are like, no, actually, we don't have anything. Tell me more. And again, it's different for where you live. There's pool services. There's, I don't know, you guys probably have like sand services because you have so much. I don't know. I've been to Dallas a few times. It's pretty cool. Go Cowboys, for the record. But anyways, it's like whatever you have that you can help out with, that's what you want to do, is offer pool services, offer decluttering, and find these companies, offer a moving company, anything you can provide value. And then I made a brochure, and I have a marketing team, so it's a little bit different, but find somebody and make a brochure. And if anybody wants my brochure, reach out and then I can send one. I don't know. Somebody else send it to you. I'll get my marketing guy to send it, but it's not even very big. It looks pretty cool, but it's not super big. And then I go in and I meet them, and you just tell them, look, we're a specialist. I'm looking to be specialists, whatever it is, to try to transition these people over. And then what they do is, once they get to know you, like you, and trust you, when somebody comes in, it's actually an advantage to them, because they're like, hey, we have an agent that's going to come in and help you with this and do this and do this. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you, because I had to do all that. Or you'll find a son or a daughter that's coming in because the transition might be a little bit harder. Maybe they're in a hospital at the time. Like, there's just so many different scenarios that you just offer so much value that they're like, this is amazing, but you have to go by there. Like, literally, you have to go by, and it has to be scheduled. Like, everything as a realtor in your life should literally, I'm going to show you mine, should be scheduled. Everything you do, everything from follow-up to whatever you do. So this is actually my life. But like, this is it. This morning I was up at 5:30 to do my first Zoom at 7, and I'll probably go till 11 o'clock at night. Now, that's what I choose to do, but it's whatever your version is to do. That's every day.
And you wake up at 5:30 for 7. How long does it take you to get ready? What?
No, but I have to lay there. I don't want to be up at 5:30. Do you want to be up at 5:30? I have to convince myself for 30 minutes to get out of bed. And then I got to feed my dog and then do all that stuff. No. I got to convince myself to get out of bed is what it is. So it just depends, but make it in your schedule. And if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. So if you're going to come in and you're going to say, okay, I'm going to commit to going to these retirement communities every 2 weeks, put it for the same time every week and treat it like you're showing homes. Treat it like a listing appointment. Because if you don't, you'll be like, oh, I'm too busy. They're good. I'm not going to go. All of a sudden, 2 months are going to pass, and then you're just going to stop going. And that's 99% of what people are going to do. I literally had people on my team, no word of a lie. They went and visited 20 retirement communities. 18 of the 20 said they were interested. 18 of 20. Imagine the opportunity. They got 2 listings the next 2 weeks for doing nothing. They never went by to any of them ever again, despite me asking them to do it. So just because you did it once doesn't mean that, oh, well, I got a listing. They're not. They're literally not. So if you can create great habits for yourself and go every 2 weeks, talk to your divorce lawyers every 2 weeks, just put it in your calendar as part of whatever you're doing. You'll be very, very successful. Don't deviate off the course.
And when you say you're offering the pool and decluttering, et cetera, services, are you actually paying for that out of your pocket, or are you charging that at the back end somehow in the closing document, in the contract?
You want to pay for it out of your pocket?
Listen, just answer the question.
No, of course I don't. There's no way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, some people do, for the record. They'll say $1,000 towards something. And again, your brokerage, you have to follow the rules. But no, that is something that I do not do. I'll hook them up with the right people. And I believe, and I say this humbly, and I know I'm a pretty loud person, but I believe that people that get to work with me are privileged to work with me, like I'm privileged to work with them and have the opportunity. So my services are enough. I don't feel I should have to undercut or do something, to be honest.
So you're not actually taking care of it literally, like no. You are taking care of the scheduling, and then you're putting it in the contract, in the sellers, whatever. It's still kind of early for me. The contract, you're writing it in there.
No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm literally giving them the brochure. Everything they need is right there. Yeah, so they're getting the brochure. They have all the information that they have to do is all right in the brochure that I've created. I've called the companies, I've vetted the companies. I might drop off 20 or 30 or 50 brochures. Then when they're out, I go replace them. But they're handing out your brochure with your name on it, and all the information is there. Now, keep in mind though, too, you have to train people to refer you. So some people are just gonna think, I'm gonna hand out your brochure. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, I'm not getting anybody. You have to ask them and get the permission. It's like, hey, when you have somebody, can you please give them or can I please get their contact? That way you're in control of the situation and contacting them. Because the mistake that we made is we'd hand it out, and then it's like, okay, well, nobody's calling us. And she's like, oh, I handed out your stuff. Well, let me have their number. I haven't had a business card in over 6 years because I want to be in control of somebody calling me. Whenever you're at an open house or whenever you're sending something, somebody's like, oh, give me your card. When was the last time somebody called you from a card? Never. So I'm like, you want to know what? I don't carry business cards. Let me have your contact information. Then I'm in control of the situation and contacting them.
Jackpot. And also Suzanne, you said about the retirement communities that they are the number. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit inappropriate, but the number one sexually transmitted diseases occur in retirement communities. It's crazy.
True story.
If there's love triangles, it's wild. I would just go there and just sit in the back of the dining area, just watch them. Like, this woman's having a love affair with this. Oh yeah.
I can't wait to get old.
Well, Brad,
I'm sure you're doing
there's not one darn good thing about getting old. And if there is, I have not figured it out yet. I mean,
how are there two?
I'm just telling you, it'll get here faster than you want it to. I can promise you that. And then you'll wake up one day and you go, oh my God, I got all that done in, an hour and a half. And, 20 years ago, it used to take me 10 minutes, it's sad.
All right, who else has some questions for Brad and Suzanne? Let's keep it going.
Guys, speak up. No matter what it is, just ask. If there's something that you've been doing that you feel like you could do better or you wish you would have done, you all have a little bit of a fear factor in doing stuff, but Capri, you're off mic. Ask your question.
I have a question. Can you guys provide some more feedback on working with probate properties?
I'm going to have to pass on that one because that's not something that in Canada we have the access to like you do. So I unfortunately don't have any experience in that. I'd love to have the opportunity to. When I was in Seattle, we did that. That was a few years ago. I don't remember. So unfortunately, I don't have any feedback for that just because it's not really a thing here.
Okay.
Me working with probate attorneys, I started out really early and I just created that relationship with probate attorneys. I think you can kind of segue your way into it by, even in dealing with the retirement communities, because a majority of those people will have some sort of probate attorney or attorney that's working with a probate attorney that you can start the relationship. And at the end of the day, you have to earn their trust and foster that relationship and prove to them that you know what you're doing. Okay. And the one thing that I would tell you is if you're going to deal with probates, you need to learn what the rules are and what's required. Some of that can actually come from your title company. What do you require when you deal with a probate? Because you'll go out and you'll list a property and those people, they don't have a will. They've not been through probate. They're just trying to sell the house so they can split the money. You cannot do that. You've got to be proactive about knowing what to ask when you're sitting down with somebody, a family member that wants to sell a property, but they don't really have the legal ability to sign anything.
Okay.
So learn about that. There's lots of, and I think even, on some of the websites, and God knows it's got to be on YouTube. If it's true, it's got to be on YouTube, right? But look it up on YouTube. I mean, and honestly, there are some properties in this country that are considered unsellable because I had one not too long ago in Wiley, Texas. The lady bought it. Her and her husband bought it 10 years ago. He did not have a will. And trust me, if you die in Texas without a will, in my opinion, you've committed a sin because you make it just a horrible struggle for your family. And because the husband died without a will, and there was a family on his side, 2 previous wives, 6 kids, one of which was in prison. We could not get anybody to sign off on his side for the sale of the house. So I even sent it over to one of my attorneys, my real estate attorneys, and said, hey, I got a great deal for you if you will work the legal side of this. And he goes, nope, not doing that. Because I mean, they were spread out from Florida to Oklahoma, and it just wasn't worth it. I mean, because you had to travel to those states to meet with the courts and stuff. And so be careful if you're going to deal with probate. Be careful. You can do it, and it is lucrative. I promise you it's lucrative, but you have to ease yourself into those relationships of dealing with those type of real estate transactions, because you will be surprised and blindsided. Bankruptcy attorneys, learn to deal with your trustees, get all of that information that you can on what they're doing, what kind of bankruptcy that they're in, and know how to work within that, because most of the time you'll work through the trustee to get the sale approved, and that can get really complicated. And that's why I think, Brad and I are sharing these with you. Right now, we are in a time where everybody is struggling to get listings. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. These take time, they take effort, they take money, they take commitment. And if you really want to be good at this, now is the time to do that, because you have time to do it.
Yes.
Well
Thank
said.
you.
Brad, I'm sorry. Were you going to jump in?
No, I said well said. That was amazing.
Yes. Explanation point. Okay. Anyone else? And then I'm gonna have Brad share a bit of his story, because I think it's so amazing. So this is like, I'm winding it down. Last chance before.
I had asked in the chat about the TREC rules around referral fees. That's where I get a little bit of confusion, because you can give a $50 gift, but a referral is different. How does could somebody clarify what the referral?
I'm never given an attorney a referral fee. Now, an attorney, if they're a party to the contract, they can do whatever they want, but I cannot give an attorney a referral fee unless they're licensed, and they know that. And
Texas, if you have a friend who says, or if you make a Facebook post saying, I give a referral fee, a referral for anybody who refers me a client, that is just strictly $50, right? You can't pay
the max.
So you can't pay, like he can pay somebody 25% or whatever he said. We can't do that.
He's in Canada. We're in Texas. I don't know about the other states, but I know in Texas that's not kosher. It's against the rules.
Yeah, she's correct. You cannot pay an attorney unless he's a licensed real estate agent as well.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
It's different here. And I think
so $50.
Yeah, 50.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to convince him for 50.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Starbucks and lunch is really good.
Yeah, and also, if all of a sudden their flight's paid for to Mexico or something, that happens. Who knows, right?
Then we turn into drug reps.
You can come spend the weekend at my lake house.
Okay. Does anyone else want to pop on real quick?
Yeah, this is Alvin. I got a quick question, if it's okay.
Alvin, yes, I'm so excited.
Hello,
Alvin. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see everybody here. I want to first say thanks, Suzanne and Brad, for all the great information, and Ashley for putting this on. And this question is for Suzanne. And it's really just a general question. Suzanne, is there a commonality amongst lawyers that you found just talking to them? Because I think in all of our career fields, you find we all kind of have a certain vernacular. If I talk to a car salesman, there's kind of things that they say or they cue in on. Same thing with realtors. Is there some kind of commonality or vernacular that you found that most lawyers will always pique their interest or get their attention? Because I'm also interested in working with lawyers as well.
I think rising to their level of professionalism is probably your first cue. If they're fairly laid back and relaxed, then you just kind of cue into that as well. But they appreciate an equal level of professionalism. If you walk in their door and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to answer their questions, they may question your ability to truly do what they need to have done. But I kind of always answer a question with a question. That's my thing. If you ask me something, I need clarity in my brain, and I will probably come back and ask you a question. So the question that you're asking me is, what is it that is the thread of attorneys that can make it easier for them to work with? Is that correct?
Yeah, in general, yes, it is. Yeah.
They're nice people. They're
nice people. Okay.
Yes, they're nice people. Even if they're suing you, they're generally nice people.
Yeah.
Because they put their pants on the same way you do. And they generally, in most cases, except for divorce attorneys, and I don't mean this in a slight way, but divorce attorneys understand that if there's an emotional situation and they're going at each other, they're probably going to spend as much money as they can until somebody runs out of money and then says, hey guys, y'all got to settle. The average divorce usually costs around $15,000. And after that, they got to sell something. But they're nice. They need to make a living. They need to have those relationships. They're just as poor as we are. I'm telling you, there's a lot of starving attorneys out there, and they promise you they are looking for good realtors to work with. So don't be afraid of them.
Yeah, in my experience, sometimes I've worked with them before. Some of them come off as know-it-alls, of course. You know, I can do what you can do. I'm a lawyer. And I know everybody's different. So those are just individuals. But, you know, the experiences.
It's just like buyers, Alvin. You know, the best thing I ever said to a seller or a buyer, and I think this takes some courage and some experience and some confidence, is maybe I'm not the realtor for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You know, Brad said something that I cherish, and he said, in the honor of me working with you as much as you working with me. So it has to be a situation where you appreciate, you know, what I'm going to bring to the table, and I darn sure appreciate what you're going to bring to the table. But if we're not going to be cooperative, then I'm not the realtor for you.
Right.
And you just go on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get into a situation where you're so struggling. Sorry, my cat just walked in and she knocked everything off. That you're struggling to work with that relationship. You're just really, you know, struggling to work with that relationship. That's not what I want. I don't need that. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. I kind of have a general rule that kind of fits into that build anyway. If they're, and it's just kind of crude, but if I think they're a jerk, I just don't work with them. I don't do this because I have to. I do it because I love it, you know, and I'd rather work with folks that want to work with me. So I don't spend any time.
Yeah. You know, and 35 years later, you will love it even more if you don't work with those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I add to that? I've been in the business. I want to add to that. I've been in the business 26 years, and I'm actually a broker. I'm a provider and everything through TREC. But what I've learned is, for some reason, they put all of us in one little box, realtors. So you have to find a way to lead with value, meaning make them call you instead of you calling them. Because if you lead with value, that means you possess something that's going to help add value to their law firm. So that's the first step. So you have to actually create a brand instead of just being a realtor or a broker. Yeah. You have to be the go-to for, if you say you want to work with divorce attorneys, then you need to start doing research, knowing the content, knowing the lawyers, the judges that are sitting on the benches, and have that conversation with them as if you went to law school as well. But also what I found works very well, which I love, I like social media, but I don't, because I'm a little old school. I love it because I can easily find out whatever I want about everyone. So that commonality, mutual friends, sororities, fraternities, what college they went to, that would definitely break that ice. But those three things right there, whether you just passed the test yesterday or 20 years ago, they'll work with you if you have that commonality. I promise you they will. Because
that's great. And in property management, you know, because we do full investigative background checks on our potential tenants, we generally know more about them than their spouses. In fact, I know more about their spouse sometimes, and you know, they're wanting to rent a property or whatever. And I'm like, you're getting married on Saturday. Don't you think you should tell her before you get married that you had a felony in college, right? So I can't lease you this property. Oh, don't tell her. And I'm like, well, don't you think you should tell her? Yeah. But they're, you know, you hit the nail right on the head, Capri. There is no hiding in this world. And you can get on any kind of Truth Finders or background checks or whatever for $25. You can know their cell phone number. You can know their address. You can know their grandma's birthday, town, whatever. You can know every person that they came in contact with, their email addresses, their alias email addresses, how many times they were married. I mean, just list of stuff. If you have one thing, and that's phone number.
Yep.
That's all you need. A phone number, an email address, an address, a name. You know, if I had that, I could tell everything I wanted to about Brad within seconds.
Not
So
true.
there's no hiding.
In Canada, we don't have any of those rules. All that stuff I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can learn all that stuff. Like, I can't even Google somebody's cell phone. Like, our privacy laws are locked down. Like, it's crazy. Like, I can't cold email. Like, it's crazy. Like, all the stuff you're saying about from a phone number, like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to have that power. Canada, we're a bunch of weaklings, I guess. We have none of that stuff. So that's amazing.
You know, it's kind of like what you were saying, you know, about knowing what's going on and knowing, you know, what you want to know about those people. I think it's going to just kind of go back to, what do I really want to know? And if you've got somebody that you know would be a really good client for you, and you've got to get that information in order to connect with them, you've got to have a source.
Yep.
And there are great sources out there. Now, they may cost you a little money, but what's not going to cost you money? Just make sure it's the highest and best use of your money. If you're going to throw money at it, make sure you can measure it. Because if you can't measure it, you don't know if it's working. And that's the scary thing about social media, Capri. You know, you're kind of up there with me. I was drugged into social media. There are still scratch marks on the wall as Ashley and Sarah's over here going like this, drug me into, you know, we're going to do this. I think I'm 75% cooperative, and what I'm not cooperative with, I have Jamie and Lindsay. They kind of do all that for me, but it's there. It's there for you guys to do anything that you want to do. But Brad hit that nail on the head. Your number one disease is laziness.
Yeah.
So this is a great segue. You guys know I'm all about. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I am all about inspiration, and Brad has a really amazing story, and I want him just to share a little bit because I want you guys to leave this call today fired up, pumped up, no matter what stage, season of life you are in right now. I know things are tough with the market for a lot of different reasons. And then Sarah and I are going to shift, and we're going to just super quickly share a digital marketing strategy that we've been doing for our agents. It's working incredibly well because, you know, I never want to leave a call without giving you something that you can absolutely 100% do that is going to grow your business. So Brad, I'm going to shift back over to you, and thank you so much again for, you know, just being willing to come on and share and just be super authentic.
Sure. I'm 100% going to cry for the record, but so a long time. Wow, that caught me off guard. I don't normally do this. So a little while ago, 2 years ago, I ended up playing hockey and I hit my head in hockey, and it was like, I didn't think too much of it. And again, everybody fights with everything. And I think the reason why I tell these stories on podcasts, I choose to do it, is because everybody has their struggle, and no matter what it is, every single person does. So I can be animated. I'm always the fun in the party. Like, there's so many great qualities that I have, but I'm still a human being and I still have stuff that sucks. So I hit my head a couple years ago. It's still, I don't get emotional, but I guess today it just is. But I ended up being in the hospital, and I was in the hospital for 4 weeks. The first time when I got there, they didn't really know what's going to happen. I kind of went to the hospital and they said, well, you know, the good thing about Canada is it was all free, by the way. So let's get the tears away and know that it was all free and I don't have to pay for insurance. So that was amazing. So I went and got my brain checked, got stuff, and they told me that I either have a brain bleed or you have a brain tumor. And I'm like, all right. And then the guy just literally left. And my fiance is like, you mother, like that, you can't just leave. So he left, and then he's like, oh, well, you know, we'll see. I'm like, it's not like you might have a fracture in your hand. So we went by, and then it got worse, and I ended up being in the hospital, and I did have a brain bleed, and I wasn't sure. They weren't sure what's going to happen. They weren't sure if I was going to make it. It was pretty tough time. And then whenever you're a realtor, like, you know, you don't have any money coming in. I run a team, and it was 4 weeks of laying there. And I remember thinking, I'm like, what's going to happen to me? I literally couldn't even walk like across, like one of the most humbling things that's ever happened to me. And when I knew that she was the one for me, I couldn't even stand, and I couldn't shower myself. I couldn't do anything, and I was just helpless. And I'm 38 years old, and I'm helpless, and I couldn't do anything. So she's holding me up, and I'm crying, and I'm like, is this how the rest of my life's going to be? And then I am going to swear, I'm sorry, but I'm a stubborn fuck. And I'm like, no, I'm like, this isn't how I'm going to go out like this. And so I was in for 4 weeks. I couldn't do anything. I remember my first time I was doing physiotherapy, I couldn't even stand or sit down, or stand and sit down. I did that twice, and I had to go back to bed. And I had a really big trip with my family. And it was in a month, and it was in Disneyland. And the doctor's like, there's no way you're going. There's no way you're going to do this. So don't even try. I'm like, will I die on a plane because of my brain bleed? And they're like, no. And the problem was that why it got worse is if they did surgery, I would have been paralyzed. So we had to see if I was ready on death's bed, then I would have taken that chance. And then they said, no, you're not going to. You're like, just won't happen. So 5 weeks later, I'm very proud to say I couldn't even walk. I couldn't lift a pot. My whole left side was numb. My whole right side was numb, like I had a stroke. So I literally couldn't move. And now my left side is still numb, like I can't feel my hand and stuff, but it's gotten a lot better. And I guess the moral of the story is that don't listen to what everybody has to say. We all have our demons. We all have different things. And I went and I walked 20 kilometers in Disneyland. Now, I was a miserable prick because I wasn't happy and it hurt, but I did it. And I always end anytime I have the opportunity. I suffer from depression and anxiety. And I know that nobody would ever know, but I do. You know, I have panic attacks. I have everything. I have demons just like everybody else. And if I can leave there, male or female, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. And that's the hardest thing I've had to learn in my life, is that as a man, like, it's okay. Like, you've seen me go from being probably one of the funniest people that you'll ever meet in your life to crying in 45 minutes. And guess what? That's okay, because that's who I am. And I am authentic, and I do love people, and I do love helping people. So if you need help, go get help. If you want to talk about it, talk to somebody. So again, for mental health, for everything, everybody has their struggles, every single person on this planet. And please, it's okay not to be okay at times. Just don't stay there too long.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much for sharing.
Awesome,
I'm
Brad. Thank you for
so
sharing.
grateful. So grateful. Wow, that was powerful. I'm super grateful. I mean, this is a guy that I heard on a podcast, and I just knew I had to get him here in front of all of you. Everybody on this call means so much to me. And Brad, I'm just so grateful. Thank you for taking my call. I mean, I reached out, and he immediately was like, yes, absolutely, I will do this with you. So again, just thank you from the bottom of my heart for just being so giving of your time. And I just love your spirit. And I just want everybody on this call to know exactly what you said. We all have struggles. This is a tough business, and, just circle of love, right? I mean, I just want us to all collaborate and partner up and be there for each other. And we're going to get through it. So Brad, thank you so much. Certainly feel free to hang out with us if you want. I'm gonna shift over to Sarah, my social media partner, so that we can give you guys just some concrete tools to take back off this call that we can implement and continue to help grow your business.
You know what? I just want to say something real quick, Sarah, before you jump in, because I know you, woman. Because I'm going to have to jump off because I've got another call that I've got to get on to. But I just wanted to say, Brad, it has been a pleasure meeting you. I've always wanted to come visit Canada.
Do it.
One of these days, they're going to let Texans, the real Americans, back into Canada. So,
Yes.
I just thank you so much for sharing. And you and I probably need to talk again, because it seems like we got a lot of,
Absolutely.
craziness going on in our life, and we can share our conjectured language as well. And but I wanted to say really quickly, from my experience working with Sarah and Ashley, my attraction to Sarah and Ashley was that Ashley is a great cheerleader and she's a great motivator, and Sarah is a great teacher and coach. And I just say that from the bottom of my heart, because this woman deserves a special place in heaven because she homeschools. But that was, and I was never successful at this before, but I did make a commitment financially, time, and effort, and I think it is paying off. So you guys like me on Facebook, and y'all can see kind of what we're working together with. And good luck, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me. I put my information in the chat, so if you guys want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne. You know how much we love you and love working with you. I so appreciate you being with us today and sharing all your amazing wisdom.
Bye, guys.
I also have a 10 o'clock that I'm a little bit late for, but I hope that everybody here got some kind of value, and I appreciate being on here. You know, I love doing this stuff for selfish reasons. I know it's terrible. Like, why do people volunteer? The truth is because it makes you feel good. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. And I love doing these things because I hope somebody got something. If one person on here got anything that makes a difference, and Suzanne, you're like, you're just a pit bull. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We got to talk. Because if you're talking about drinking vodka and Peru juice, like, we're homies. we gotta do something. So I hope somebody had some value. I'd love to come back on here anytime. I have a lot more wisdom to share and anything. And the honor and the privilege has been all mine. And I'm humbled for people to have listened to me, and hopefully you got something. So I do want to say thank you for inviting me. And that's why I love doing these.
Thank you so much, Brad. And yes, 100%, you are coming back.
All right. I'll do it anytime. You just let me know. Thanks, everybody.
Have an amazing day.
And appreciate you.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right, we're kicking it over to Miss Sarah. We're going to talk about this cool digital strategy that we've been doing. Several of you I know are on this call. We are already doing this strategy with, and I'm super excited you're here. It's always good to hear it again. So Miss Sarah.
Yes. Hello, everybody. That was kind of heavy to come in on, like, whoo, let's talk about digital strategy. But one thing that I was going to say that kind of ties into all that, like, I struggle like Brad struggles, you know, up and down all the time. But I'm so excited to share good news with you guys. I am getting my vaccine on Tuesday, which means I am like 6 weeks away from being able to see my parents on a regular basis. So that I am super excited about, because they refuse to get the vaccine. So I've stayed away from them because I live in a very populated place and they live out in the country. So they feel like they're safe, but I feel like I'm not safe to see them. So I am super excited for that. So that's going to alleviate a lot of the heaviness from the last year for me. So super excited. Okay, so digital strategy. Really what we are wanting to do here is show people what you've been up to. That's really what our digital strategy is. It's bringing your face and your business in front of your sphere, the people who already know who you are, and your farm, the people that you want to reach. Okay. So it really is getting to know people in a showing them kind of way, because you can't, like, you know, message everybody that's in your farm individually. I mean, I guess you could if you really wanted to, but it's putting things out, and when they respond to what you put out, then you start building those relationships. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of what we call digital postcards. Really, this is taking mailers, postcards in the mail, and putting them on Facebook and Instagram. And Carrie, I see you on my Facebook all the time because you're with Influential Agent. And I love every time I see it, because I'm like, she's using it. Yes. It makes me happy. But it's the same kind of concept of taking that sphere, putting something out on a regular basis consistently, but we're also looping in the farm using remind lists. So it's the same as sending out those mailers, only you're doing it online. So I'm just going to show you guys a couple of examples of some we've done in the past, what their results were and kind of what we're looking for. And then we'll explain how, if you're interested, you can sign up. I know from the get-go, people are looking at things always. They're like, oh yeah, here comes the pitch. Well, how much is it? Like my first child, like a pint of blood, how much does this cost? So I'm going to tell you up front, it's $100. $100. That includes the ad spend. I set it up. All you do is give us some stuff and like pictures and whatnot, and we set it up for you. So it's not a hard process. It's not an expensive process. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and just show you a couple of what we've done, and so you can get an idea of what we're talking about here. Okay, so not that one.
Sarah, while you're pulling this up, I'll share with them as well. So you guys just think about your traditional direct mail campaigns, right? Like you're paying the post office to send mailers to your farm area, to your sphere. So, Sarah and I always love to give a digital spin to absolutely everything that we can. So we're taking the same concept and now we are maximizing the social channel. So this is going to go out on Facebook as well as Instagram. I'm always looking for ways to help alleviate stress as well. So I know a lot of you, because I talk to you every single day, are so stressed out with social media. Oh my gosh, I've got to make a post. What content am I going to put out there? So this is another solution to alleviate that stress. We're going to post content, but we are going to tell Facebook exactly who we want to receive our content. So now you don't have to worry, gosh, if I make a post to my Facebook business page or Instagram or personal page, is anyone actually going to see it? Because we know that probably less than 2% of people you're connected to ever see your content. So we're basically going to maximize Facebook's platform, and we are literally going to create what's called custom audiences. So we're going to create custom audiences from your warm sphere as well as cold spheres, which Sarah was tapping into a minute ago when she mentioned Remind. Remind is a free tool that all of you guys have access to. If you don't know how to use it, don't worry, because we do. And that's where we are pulling prospect lists from different farm areas that you want to dominate. So with that, Sarah, I know you've got one pulled up.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple. This one for our friend Lacey. You can see this is really just a post. Okay. It's got a caption at the top where we use hashtags and emojis. And if you want us to send them to your website, we can put a link. We always have send message as the call to action, so you can DM if they want to. But the picture part, I actually create in Canva. So the picture part, actually, I can send to you and make it a mailer postcard as well, because we're pulling those Remind lists. You can even mail this to people so they see it online and offline. So these are completely versatile. And these, I had an agent ask me yesterday, these digital postcards, can we use them again? And the answer is absolutely. This is your property. You have paid for it. It is not mine. I create it for you and then give it to you. So if you want to use these images for a postcard, for a flyer, for a brochure, whatever you want to do with them, they're yours. So this particular one, you can see on the right, it reached 2,209 people. 1,239 were in the warm audience, which means people they already knew, their Facebook page, their Instagram, and their CRM. And 970 from the cold audience, which was their farm area we pulled from Remind. But what's interesting, if you'll jump to the next line, 129 people clicked on it to look a little closer. They clicked on the actual picture, or they clicked on the link that was in the caption. So 129 of those 2,000 people clicked on this post. 149 of those people that saw the post either liked, shared, or commented on it. 71 of those were from Facebook and 78 of those were from Instagram. So it goes on Instagram and Facebook, and
Okay. All right. Let me know if you
The
want to put an offering in
algorithm
so
will
we can get
actually,
because it's a new listing.
hey,
Yeah.
Tiffany,
to mute.
At first, you'd be, priority.
Sorry, I don't know where they are.
All right. Let me know. Be careful.
It's Tiffany Lundy.
Tiffany Lundy, we need to mute you. Okay, thank you, Blair.
cool. Okay, so 149 of those people liked, shared, commented, and it shows the breakdown between Facebook and Instagram. So you can see that her audiences that she's picked, warm and cold, are split evenly amongst Instagram and Facebook. But what's really powerful about this is that those 149 people that responded to this ad in some way are now part of her warm audience. So when she runs another digital postcard, they're part of the warm audience now, which leaves more room in that cold audience. So they get moved over. We call this retargeting. So as people engage with what you're putting out, they become part of the audience that gets targeted with the warm targeting. So that will continue to grow and grow. It'll snowball bigger and bigger. So here's another one that we did. This is our friend Deidre. This was a video. It was actually a GIF. So this little guy right here was like flying. He starts here and he flies up in the air as this right here stays still. So it was animated. So when things are animated, it actually boosts the engagement because the engagement then counts views, video views. So of the 4,144 people who saw this postcard, over half engaged. So it says like, shared, left a comment, but that also includes people who watched it. Half of the people that we targeted are now in a warm audience and are seeing her newest digital postcard. That is so powerful, guys, because you have captured people. That's like saying somebody got your postcard in the mail and then showed it to a friend. That's the equivalent because they've engaged with your thing enough. So, Mina, baby, can you not talk? Thank you. And then 3 of those people clicked on it to talk, chat, go to the Facebook page, look around, whatever. So this part, the clicks, a little low, but the engagement was super high. So our strategy is to do like Lacey had a just sold under contract. It has a story. And then something that is seasonal, that is cute, that will have people engaged just for the entertainment value. So this one I want to show you is one that I just finished for Suzanne that was just with us. And it is 100% for entertainment value and attention. And the reason why I'm showing you is because it has already gotten over 150 engagements, meaning people who watched it, and it had only spent like $1 out of the 40 that we have allotted for it. So I want to show you guys this one. And I love it because my kids helped me put it together. And I love things that are cute, whimsical, and or kind of tongue in cheek. So actually, yeah, I'll go ahead.
Oh, we can't hear the sound, Sarah.
It's okay if you couldn't hear the sound. It was kind of circusy music, but it's an animation to catch people's attention because whenever you first look at it and you're like, this is about selling a home, this is obviously from a real estate agent because of the thing at the top, why are there dinosaurs on it? And then you continue watching and we've got you. You're part of our remarketing audience now because you've watched this video for more than 3 seconds. So this is, I'm super excited about it because I am silly and I love silly things. And she's awesome and she wants to like go for it all the time. So we are alternating for her a property for sale, a property that's just sold, something that is kind of entertainment value, and then another property that's for sale, and then a piece of land that's for sale, and then something that she sold. And so we're layering those pieces one on top of the other. And then the last thing I wanted to show you.
Can I just ask a question about that really quick?
Yeah.
So on the warm audience and the cold audience, your goal of these ads is to take people from the cold audience and move them to the warm audience for retargeting.
Yes.
Right. So you want to take your cold audiences and make them all over here in your warm audiences to get them to engage in your, right?
Yes.
It's been a long week. I'm trying to fathom, everything that we've talked about today. And so I just want to make sure.
Yep. That's exactly what the goal is that, if you have a Remind list, and I actually pulled one just a second ago of people in my zip code who are absentee owners. So this is a Remind list of the people in Western McKinney who rent their homes. Okay. So when I pull this list and I download it, this is going to be a list of landlords is what it's going to be because they're all absentee. So my goal, if I were to, let's say, run a digital postcard aimed at landlords, would be that they would see our postcard, they would engage with it in some way and become part of my warm audience. And eventually that warm audience from that farm will start to dwindle. The cold audience from the farm would start to dwindle and we would move to a new farm, right? So every time you're interacting with a group of cold audience, you're moving them into the warm. And if they're in the warm, they will see your postcards every single time that you run one. So it allows you to farm different areas and different targets. And once they're moved into that warm audience, that retargeting, they don't go out. Like it continues to retarget to them over and over and over. Every time we run something, now they're warm. So that's kind of how that works. So this Remind list, I actually made a quick little graphic, not too much thought into it, but I made a quick little graphic. Tired of being a landlord? Take advantage of the current seller's market to make a profit on your properties. So this would be, if I sent it to that Remind list I just showed you, all 4,000 of those people that came up that are landlords that own absentee properties would, not all of them would see it, but they would be targeted. And if they see it and it resonates with them and they're like, yeah, I've kind of been thinking about that. I'm kind of tired of having to fix up my rental properties every time somebody moves out. I am upside down on my mortgage because I haven't gotten rent in a year. There's different dynamics that are going on. I'm just going to reach out and see how much I could get for this house in McKinney, right? Then that you've got that person. They click on it, they like it, they share it, they screenshot it on their phone on Instagram. A screenshot on Instagram is considered an engagement, anything like that. Then you can capture them if that's the market you're wanting to try to go after. So this was just a quick example that I mocked up. It would be a lot prettier if I were actually putting time into it, but that's the idea I kind of wanted to get you guys thinking about of the things you learned about today. How can we target those people? How can we remarket those people and get them moved into your funnel to where you're dripping on them over and over and over?
So Sarah, awesome job. I've been trying to monitor the chat and people are wanting to know, so how long does this run? So here's the breakdown on the strategy, guys. Ideally, the best would be if an agent can run 2 of these in a month because we're running each campaign. So we're calling it a campaign, each campaign for 10 days. So the $100 that Sarah was speaking of, part of that is going to her for all of her work. And then part of it is going to Facebook because we have to pay Facebook to deliver our content. So again, just like we would pay the post office to deliver our postcards, now we're paying Facebook to deliver our content to our very specific people. So you and I are going to hop on a call if you're interested, and I'm going to ask you, do you have a database or a CRM that you can export into an Excel spreadsheet? You tell me yes. Great. We're going to put that into Facebook's ad platform and we're going to create a custom audience from that. That's going to be your warm sphere on top of anybody who is currently following you on your socials. Okay, so that's your entire warm audience. Then our cold audience, because we want to grow our business. I know all of you have certain farm areas out there that you really want to dominate. So that'll be part of my other questions to you is what are those areas? And we get really specific. I want to know specific zip codes. I want to know specific subdivisions or school ISDs. So we can get super granular. So when we go to help you pull these lists from Remind, we're getting really targeted. So now we're putting that into Facebook and we're creating a custom audience. So that's where our warm audience and our cold audience comes from. And then the consistency is key. So again, we say 2 times in a month because each are running for 10 days. So if you run 2, that means you're getting in front of your warm and your cold audience over a 20-day period of time in a month. And then guess what? You want to do it again. So just like Sarah was talking about, that's why it's super important. And we show you those reports because we want to retarget all of those people who have engaged with your content. So this is an entire strategy. This is not about, I'm just going to put a post out there. We are very intentional about the content we are creating. So Sarah and I will help you do all of that. We have a digital library that you can go visit with different templates to give you an idea of, what sort of your style and your vibe. But then outside of that, I want to figure out, hey, do you have a just listed? Do you have something that's under contract? Do you have a coming soon? What sold properties do you have? Like Sarah was saying at the very beginning, we want to use this to market you. We want to showcase everything that you're doing so that when someone is thinking about buying or selling, they're going to think of you. The other important part is the copy. So that post, basically the post, Sarah and I are going to write the copy for you because we want to insert a call to action in there. So we always want to be driving business back to you. This isn't about just throwing up a picture and showing them, hey, I sold a property. So I hope this is making sense. I hope you're super excited about it because it really is working. We have lots of success stories. And then again, you just want to be consistent. Consistency is key. Keep showing up. Brad and Suzanne were saying the same thing. So there's so many things that we can do with this. Sarah, I know we want to give something away for sure. Before we do the giveaway part, if you are at all interested in just learning more, please text me. Okay, I'm going to put my personal cell phone number in the chat. So hold on just a sec here. And really, really easy. I just want you to text me the word digital postcard. So just text digital postcard, and then that is my cue to reach back out to you. And like I said, I'll just schedule a super quick Zoom call so that I can learn more about your business and review how the strategy works and what we're going to do specifically for you because each agent is totally different. So there we go. All right, Miss Sarah, did I miss anything?